guys, Serge Berger here. This week, of course, everyone's looking forward to Janet Yellen's presentation or speech in Jackson Hole. That, of course, is still a few days away, and markets have been acting very, very quietly over the past few weeks in terms of implied volatility, at least as measured by the VIX. You can see that here at the bottom of the chart. And I actually just read somewhere it's been the lowest volatility since about 1995, and that's quite scary. But I do think here this late summer period does offer some opportunities to make some bullish trades with an eye towards risk management, of course, as always. So what I'm going to show you guys today, very, very simple, is just some bull flag patterns, very simple bull flag patterns that are setting up in a whole bunch of single name stocks and even some ETFs. So let's get to it. To give you a little bit of perspective, just let me draw a couple of lines on various sectors. For example, here the XLE, this is the energy sector ETF of the S&P 500. To me, looks constructive through the intermediate term lens. So, just to give you a little bit of an idea of where some of the stuff is coming from, you can see fairly tight pattern here, consolidating a little bit right now, but all in all, looks to be on a fairly decent path higher. So the energy sector looking pretty good. And of course, the financials very important. That's going to be very important later on this week as well. On Friday, you can see the XLF here still acting quite well. Will Janet raise or hint towards a raise? I guess is more the point here. I don't know, but financials continue holding quite well, and all else being equal, if the financials hold up better than expected, then the broader market should have a decent underlying bid underneath it. So the XLF, and then of course the IYT, this is not so much a sector, but a group of stocks, transportation stocks, and I talk about this with my clubhouse members every single morning. If we see transportation stocks act this well, then here too, it's probably somewhat of a foreshadowing of an underlying bid in the S&P, even if we see a dip in the near term. So that's just a little bit of perspective. Now, let me quickly show you a couple of bull flag patterns that have continued to sort of rear their head the past few weeks. VMW, this is a stock called VMware. You can see this stock gapped higher after earnings. It's now been consolidating for a number of weeks, and at the end of the day, the stock does look like it does ultimately want to resume this path higher, maybe into the higher 70s or so as the next stop. So that's of course more of a technology name, the VMW, but my point is I'm seeing these bull flags show up in many sectors, not just in a couple of areas that I just mentioned before. So VMW is one that could potentially work. They're more in the transportation sector or groups. You can see CSX, this of course is a big railroad company. And you can see here too, we got a very nice line of resistance, but again, we've been consolidating below this resistance area for some time now, for a number of weeks after a very steep rally into the middle part of July. So CSX is name number 2 that's on my radar. Then moving over to the financial space, American Express, AXB, this is not so much just a bull flag pattern. This in general, quite a bullish wedge, bullish type of formation, whatever you want to call it. And looks something like this, and you can see within this, over the past few days or so, we've tightened this even more so. So ultimately, I suspect a break to the upside is the path of least resistance. Whether we first have to take a dip lower, I don't know, but ultimately, I think a break above 66 on a daily closing basis for AXP is another one that looks fairly interesting to me. Then we look at biotech land, Amgen, AMGN, very similar type of move here, a very strong rally here since late June. Then we start to consolidate, and ultimately I would think, all else being equal, this consolidation phase, especially since it's taken place below those 2015 lows, should ultimately be able to resume to the upside as well. Last but not least, a little bit more esoteric, if you will, although I'm not quite sure that's the right word. You can look at names like Domino's Pizza, for example, which are already starting to push higher and resolving out of its respective bull flag. So just to kind of goes to show you that this kind of stuff is happening or taking place all over the stock market, or at least over a good part of the stock market. So I hope this helped to give you some trade ideas and a little bit of perspective, guys, and enjoy the rest of your week.